Morning. If you're wondering why I keep looking down, it's because there's a small dog at my feet. I'm puppy sitting. I guess he's not a puppy anymore, but he's really small. This is him. He's currently barricaded inside the hallway and kitchen. That's the living room because he keeps peeing in there. Bye. Anyway. I thought it'd be fun to do like a little vlog just of my day. I also wanted to talk about just kind of life stuff. Something I've been thinking a lot. Today's a work day. It's a Wednesday, so halfway through the week. And something I think a lot about at work, because it's like a work goal, is this like kind of confidence building I've been working on with my like life coach for the last year. Just like in the workplace, because I noticed when I started the job I had a ton of imposter syndrome. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that, because so I work with a life coach, which is like a little bit different than a therapist, and I don't know, I think it just like kind of changes like the tactic a little bit, where it's like almost kind of like feels like a negotiation with my brain sometimes, where it's like there's kind of understanding that there are like certain thoughts that like my brain's gonna offer me. And I guess like thinking or like believing more or less that those are like optional thoughts, or just like kind of taking those thoughts with a grain of salt. I'll just like explain like the meat of what I'm talking about, and hopefully that will like offer some clarity. But basically, I'm working on confidence at work and trying to believe that like the way that I do things is like the right way to do things. Because like the insecurity comes up in all sorts of different ways. Like sometimes I take a break and I'm like, oh, like kind of shaming myself for like being really lazy, or telling myself I'm like not working quickly enough. That was like a big one at the beginning, was I was like, oh, I'm a really slow worker. It's kind of just like a long held belief I've had, and it still pops up sometimes, but I'm kind of impressed the most by how much progress has been made on that one. And like maybe I shouldn't be, because like, you know, I'm within the first like year and a half of my tenure here, and so it's like the beginning of the job. Of course I was like worried about like being slow, because I was slow. But I don't know, that has been like kind of a long-standing narrative I've had about myself, that it's like, oh, I'm a slow worker, like I'm too slow, like anyway, so that one has like been mostly gone. And we've tackled it in like all sorts of different ways. One of the first ways was kind of like setting an impossible goal. And the impossible goal was to like believe that I am like the most important person in my job, which is funny because I'm an assistant. But what's even funnier is it like kind of worked. Like I was able to kind of like believe that in moments by the end of the year, which was cool. And I think it was kind of like served the purpose it needed to. Like I no longer feel the need to think that I'm the most important person in this role. But the point of like kind of setting that as like a goal was just like kind of opening my mind up to like ways of thinking that I provide value. It was just like the most extreme, because at first when I was working on the confidence thing, my coach was like, hey, like what if you like wrote down like a value you contributed like each day, and then I just did it. Not because I like could never think of any, I just like didn't want to. It wasn't inspiring. And what's been kind of nice about our process is that like if I'm not taking to something, it's like there's no point in forcing it, because it's like you can force it for like a week, but it's just not gonna last. So I just kind of appreciate the realism of our approach in that way. Appa, stop whining. Anyway, so what's nice about like working with a coach is that like over time you kind of like develop the ability to like think of creative ways around like the narratives your brain has created. I think part of what I like about it so much is that it kind of encourages you to like poke holes in like the thoughts that your brain offers you that like otherwise feel like objective fact. Like, I feel like usually it's like if I have a thought, or in the past, like when I've had a thought, I'm like, oh, I probably think that because it's like true, or there's like some like deeper truth to that. And it's just kind of a funny thing. It's like we take that for granted. I feel like a lot of people do that, and you never really like stop to even like observe it and be like, why do I do that? Like, why do I just assume that like what my brain spits out at me is like the truth, you know, like some inner innate truth. I don't know, right now it feels ridiculous, but I'm like, I don't know, if I were me like a couple years ago, would I be like, oh no, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's just probably true. Like, that's your subconscious. And I guess, I don't know, isn't it kind of like believing like everything that you dream is like true, or something that you like wish for on the inside, or like maybe it is true, but maybe it's not true in the way that you think it is. Like, maybe you dreamed it because like it says something about like something that you're going through, but it doesn't necessarily indicate the feeling that you have towards it, or like that it's something you want. Like, why do we assume that it's like indicating something like positive, or like some sort of affinity for something? Anyway, so that's like kind of what I like about the work, that it's like kind of encouraging you to kind of negotiate with your brain, be like, I don't know if I believe that, like, or just kind of like poking holes. It makes it like kind of like a fun game. So yeah, I think like one of the important like first steps was kind of like poking holes in the idea that, I don't know, I wasn't good at my job in like X, Y, and Z ways. And just like, I feel like really the first step with like any of this stuff is like thinking that it's like, okay, I thought that I was like too slow at work. In an effort to like fix that, I like went really fast on some project, and then it kind of blew up in my face because like it turns out I was kind of rushing. And so it's like, I guess like the hole that you're poking is, it's like, well, maybe there was some utility in like the slowness, because it's like better for it to be done right than for it to be done like quickly but like wrong, because when it's done wrong you just have to redo it most of the time. So just kind of poking holes in that, and like finding other ways. And it's just, you kind of just gotta like look around life. It doesn't even have to just be in work. It could be like, I don't know, like at some point my coach offered me, actually no, it wasn't her, I think it was me. It was like we'd been working on this for a while, and I was kind of like seeing how it applied to other parts of my life, because usually like a narrative you have about yourself doesn't only apply to like one area. It's usually like a deeper ingrained like belief about yourself. And so I was thinking about like reading, and how like, and I still struggle with this, but how I kind of like shame myself for like not reading enough, not reading quickly enough, like just like not having the patience to like sit down and read as often as like I think I should. And then at some point I was like in bed, and I think I was like doing thought work or something. Thought work's like basically what you call it when you're like negotiating with your brain, I guess. I think that's a crude way of putting it, but whatever. I was doing some thought work, and it just kind of occurred to me. I was like, well, wait, I feel like the fact that I kind of read, especially something like nonfiction, more slowly, like that's especially nonfiction. The fact that I read that more slowly, I feel like allows for me to process the information. And I feel like it allows me to like remember it better. Like I was reading specifically at the time, like a book about economics that I'm, full disclosure, still trying to get through. And I was noticing that the concepts were really heady and like big, and like not really concepts I was like used to working with or thinking through. Because it was about kind of macroeconomics, and I haven't taken macroeconomics since high school. And you know, I read the news, I'm like not a dummy, but still it was just kind of like, once you get into the weeds of like all the jargon and all that stuff, and like she was fully in the weeds, like this book was fully in the weeds, the author definitely goes there. And it was written like, interestingly enough, it was just kind of like, even like the concepts, just kind of wrapping my head around like the way that like markets work, and like all of the ways people kind of maneuver within them, or the ways that like companies are structured and their relationship to markets. And I won't get into like the weeds of the book, because I don't know, some people could find that really boring, but because it was like such a big, complicated topic, I needed space. I needed like time. I couldn't just like read a chapter and then like move on to the next chapter. I'd have to read like a few pages and be like, okay, what did I just read? and kind of like let it sit and kind of probably bug Max about it, because that's what I do. And I'm like, well, wait, what do you think she meant by this? Or like, and then Googling something and being like, oh, that, and then like kind of rereading it and being like, okay, maybe, and just like kind of putting the pieces together. And then I think even just like allowing for time after that, and then it's like kind of allowing like the creative process where it's like my brain's like still trying to figure out what's happening rather than like moving on to the next thing. Anyway, so I was able to like kind of put that together with like the slowness thing, that it's like, pardon the bottle, it's because Appa was whining and I spray him with water when he whines. Sorry. Anyway, the point being that it's like, because these were like complicated topics, my brain needed like the time between like learning new things in order to like understand it fully. And so I kind of put the two together, where it was like, oh, but maybe the slowness with which I read is actually helpful in like understanding the concepts better. So I think that my confidence at work is like a lot better. And like, I truly believe that I offer value to my company. I think I'm good at what I do. I think I work at a perfectly fine pace. Trust myself to like take breaks when like, you know, I kind of need a pause to like get the creative juices flowing, like whatever. And I think the next step is like kind of believing that in the face of like other people's opinions. Like something I've noticed is that like if I talk about work with like Max, or if I get like feedback from my boss, it's like that's kind of when the work confidence becomes shaky. And it's like funny because it's, if anything, it's more anxiety inducing now, because I'm like, no, but I like cultivated this like precious relationship with like my self-beliefs and my confidence at work, like please don't shake them. And so it's like the next step, and it's like, I think that's perfectly natural. And I think the next step is like believing that I am good at my job, like for the reasons that I set out to be good at my job, or like I am the authority on like what it means to be like, I guess, good at my job. I'm still working on this, if that isn't clear, or just kind of like, I decide like kind of what I get out of work, and like deciding what my personal relationship to my job is, I think will be important. And like, I think it'll be like important for like my day to day, and like probably as a result, it'll be important for my work performance. But that's like not really the goal here. Like the goal here is to like kind of feel more in tune with my job and feel more like self-assured about like what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I guess to put it simply, I'll say this. I've always cared a lot, too much, about what other people think. And that certainly applies to work. Even in the face of this like kind of newfound confidence, it is applied to work. I get like kind of easily rattled by other people like offering their opinions on like maybe like something I'm saying about like my work performance, or like my work performance in general if it's my boss. And so I think the next step is like deciding what I think it means to be good at my job, how I want to show up at my job, and acting accordingly. And once I establish those things, when other people offer feedback, I won't be like kind of questioning and doubting myself, because like I won't have performed and acted in an effort to like get other people's approval. I will have performed and acted to get my own. Anyway, so the next like step, the next like exercise, I talked to my coach about this. The next like step I'm gonna take is, she offered me the idea of like getting a list of like, I guess, values. I'm a little bit like fuzzy on it. Basically, I'm gonna get a list of values, and I'm supposed to pick from the list of values the 5 things that I find that I think are most important in my job for me. That it's like, I want to kind of like work on, I feel good about / I want to continue to work on my skills of problem solving. Like, because I already think I'm a good problem solver. I know it's something that I enjoy. And so like that's something that I will like actively seek out at work, and that's something I will like actively kind of try to improve at work, because I like it and I think I'm good at it. So stuff like that. And I'm supposed to choose like 4 more. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that at my lunch break. Because I get like a 45-minute lunch period every day. It's funny, I feel like I'm in school. It's like my lunch period. Yeah, so we'll catch up then. Get his lobster, and then his. I'm gonna regret this. He's gonna be so annoying. This coffee's not my best. I copied Max's breakfast today, except he mashed the banana and I only sliced it. It's like this like cranberry pecan bread with peanut butter and banana slices. And when I asked him why he mashed it, he said it's because it brought out the banana juices. And in my mind, I was like, that's dumb. But having sliced the bananas, I think he was onto something. This is really not my angle. It's really not. But whatever. This is a little bit better. A little bit. I really wish I liked berries. We've had blackberries in the fridge for, I think, over a week. And, like, miraculously, they have not molded yet. I don't know if that's, like, a New York produce thing or, like, a produce everywhere thing. But I've never had berries that don't mold within, like, 3 days of purchasing them. These fuckers are really, they're in it for the long haul. And I just keep refusing to eat them. I really don't want them. I wish I liked berries. They're supposed to help you not get cancer. Anyway. I'm playing tug of war and fetch with Appa right now. It is, ow, I kept biting my hand with his favorite toy. He's not sure about it every time. He's like, I can't believe I have to jump off of this couch. It's covered in a comforter, by the way, because he fucking peed on it, which I just don't understand what I did to deserve that, but whatever. Anyway, I was thinking about how, Appa, go get the lobster. It's like what we're here for. It's good for me to, you know, be required to get off of my phone in the middle of the workday. You know, because screens are bad, I guess, and evil, whatever. And that, like, kind of playing with Appa is, like, I kind of have to, otherwise he will be a lunatic. And it requires me to do that. I was thinking about how I don't want to. And I feel like I don't want to because of FOMO. And then I was like, damn, I guess, like, having phones all the time, like the access that having like a cell phone in your pocket gives you means that you kind of have like you could have like a constant sense of FOMO, because you're like, I could be missing out on like, at least for me, I'm like, oh, but I could be doing something just incredibly fun and amazing on my phone right now. Which is funny because like most of the time it isn't, but I guess there's just like the possibility that you'll like hit on that thing on your phone. Anyway, just something I'm thinking about. I'm not gonna be able to get to the exercise I was talking about earlier today because I had to go to the chiropractor during my lunch break, and also it's just like a fucking crazy work week. So tomorrow it is. I have to do it tomorrow because that's when my next session is with Maria, so I'll do it tomorrow during lunch. I think Appa's true goal here was to play tug of war, and he's actually like very good at it, even though he's little. I mean, I guess I could just carry him with me, but that's not in the spirit of the game, so. Look at you in. Oh, no fun. Okay, Appa, I gotta go back to work. Hello again. It is my lunch break. I am going to take the last 30 minutes of it to kind of do this like little exercise, go through some of the materials my coach had sent me. Just kind of like exploring like the list of potential values, kind of looking over them and like getting a sense of like which core values I want to like, I guess, strive for, or I'm honestly not sure. Sorry, Appa is currently trying to get a set of cashews on the that are on the coffee table, and they're just out of reach, and he's trying so hard. Buddy, you wouldn't like them that much. Like, they just don't taste like that much. Also, Max is gonna kill you if you scratch that thing up. Max is very precious about his coffee table. Do not come here and fuck with the coffee table. You will hear about it. I think I need to intervene. One moment. Okay, I'm back. The cashews have been removed. Hopefully the crisis is averted. Anyway, I'm gonna go through this thing. She sent me some like materials which hopefully actually like clarify what the exercise is. So I'll probably like shoot or throw like a screen recording up like here of me kind of scrolling through them. Science of people. Internal compass, fundamental principles, drive a person's life or an organization. All right, we're going to define ours. I don't want to know what they are. I could take a guess. Feel more confident in your decisions. That's what I'm going for. Defining my version of success. These are all honestly kind of cheesy goals to set, but goals I have nonetheless. Oh wait, is there personal values and work? Interesting. It says certain principles guide the type of work you pursue, whether you're an entrepreneur, employee, or freelancer. Why and how they conduct business. On a personal level, these values help you determine the broader vision of your career and your daily performance in the workplace. All right, so this is the list I'm working with. So if you use the same link, you go down to the personal values and work and go from there. I'm actually gonna do this work, and I'm probably just gonna like fast forward through it in the recording because it's kind of boring. Just watch someone take notes, but that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I guess catch you on the flip side. Also, my friends need to stop fucking texting me. Okay, I'm actually gonna fast forward after this, but like the first one is like timeliness, and it's like that could be like an aspirational goal of mine, but it's like funny how immediately indifferent I feel towards it. I'm like, no, I don't care. Also, just to like give you a sense of like how I'm doing this, because I feel like it's kind of overwhelming. There's like a lot of tasks. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm just gonna like write down the ones that kind of like jump out to me that I'm like, I can relate to this. I can see it. That was Appa coughing. He does that a lot. And it always sounds like something came out, but I think most of the time it doesn't. Anyway. yeah, so I'm just writing down the ones that like stand out to me, and then I'll just kind of keep narrowing and I guess like jump back, tune back, I don't know, slow back down. I don't know. I'll fuck with the video somehow, but I'll stop to kind of like, I guess, express some thoughts about certain values. Okay, you can't see this from this angle, but Appa jumped on the chair next to me so he could whine at me more effectively. Needy boy. It's interesting kind of going through these because I feel like it's easy to kind of like, I don't know, like shame myself where I'm like, oh, that can't be my value. I'm like not good at it. Or like that sounds like a bad, unpleasant value because I'm not going to be good at it. Like organization, like I think I can be organized, but like right now, for example, I don't feel very organized at work because I'm like feeling really busy and I'm like trying to maintain organization as best as I can, but I guess the perfectionist in me is like, but I could do better. So I'm like, that surely cannot be my value. So don't know what that means. I don't know. There's something about like the list that it's just like kind of going through them. I'm like, just kind of meh, not really excited by them. I think one of the ones I was excited about was like the one I had already come up with, which is problem solving. And I guess I'm kind of like making myself feel bad about the other ones where I'm like, oh, self-development and like growth mindset. It just feels like, and I'm like, is that selfish? Because like there's some that it's like service to others or like hard work ethic. I'm like, nah. But self-development, yes. What does that mean? Anyway, okay, so the ones I wrote were growth mindset, work-life balance, self-development, this guy, problem solving, achievement, dependability, resourcefulness, learning from mistakes, and positive impact. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, I guess I just thought like my heart would be singing after this exercise, and it's not. That could just be indicative of my current attitude and headspace. I'm not sure. I guess I'll talk to Maria about it. Maria's my coach. She's great. I think her service is called Rest Over Grind. Thank you. But her name is Maria. Yeah, I guess the ones I like the best are problem solving and I don't know. I guess growth mindset. I like the idea of like improving, like learning. I like learning. I'm like, is growth mindset just like a buzzy way of saying learning? Because I like learning better. It sounds less, respectfully dumb. Another one that I had was like work-life balance, which like again, like I think that's totally legitimate. But it's just funny that I'm like service to others, not, but work-life balance, absolutely. Yeah, this like I feel like brought up more like a little self-judgment than I expected it to. So that's like I guess an interesting thing to keep in mind if you're gonna do it. Okay, I think this dog might actually murder me if I don't pay attention to him soon. And this honestly took way faster, or was way quicker than I thought it would be. So yeah, either I'll like hop back on with like more thoughts or whatever about it. I probably will because I feel like there is some reflecting to do here. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me these last 2 days. And yeah, catch you in the next one.